Hi guys, happy Sunday. It is a beautiful sunny day outside and I am here to talk to you about one of my favorite things, which is crafting and knitting and crochet in general. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick around. Generally on this weekly podcast, I bring you some of the items that I've finished, worked on, or I'm starting to think about casting on. So I actually have some of each of those items today. I'm pretty excited. I finished my daughter's cardigan. Yay! And I am getting ready to cast on one for myself. I've also kind of fallen into the emotional support chicken craze, so I've cast that on as well, which is kind of odd for me because usually I enjoy only having one project or maybe two at most on at a time, but I've got soon to be three, which is kind of an abnormally. Anyways, my name is Mandy Vaughn, and you can find me as Mandy Vaughn Knits on Ravelry and Instagram. And I'm glad that you're here, so let's get started. This is my first item, and I love this. In fact, I love this so much, I'm going to be making myself one, like right after I finish this podcast, I'm gonna start. This is the Thursday Special by Elena Nodel, and it is knit in worsted weight yarn. So it's very winter appropriate, and the lace, if I can show a nice close-up on the lace, is very easy and simple to memorize, and it's also only the front panels. The back is just plain stockinette. Now, this cardigan does have short rows. It has short rows in the back, up at the neck, and it has short rows up at the shoulder here. And I do appreciate that because I really like the way that it lays on my daughter. It just fits her shoulder area very nicely, so I was definitely happy about that. Now, the sleeves are just plain stockinette, and instead of ribbing, we've got garter stitch. And the garter stitch is carried on throughout the button band. Well, I guess you wouldn't consider it a button band because there are no buttons, but the band and then down at the bottom as well. And this, like I said, it's a worsted weight yarn, and it is knit in I am tongue-tied this morning, I'm sorry. It is knit in Malibrigo worsted, and the color is magenta. So this is gotta be one of my favorite colorways from Malibrigo, and I love the color depth on it. Now, when I knit this, I was alternating skeins because, as you know, if you've ever used hand-dyed yarn before, especially with bigger items, bigger patterns, you'll see that the yarn will pool if you don't alternate skeins. And sometimes it can pool in a way that you might not care for. So in order to avoid all of that, I just alternated the skeins. You can tell, especially on the sleeve, which I think looks nice. I'm a big fan of like that color depth, the alternating. All in all, this item was meant to be a cardigan that my daughter could wear over her uniform at school. And she's allowed to wear solid color cardigans or solid sweaters over her uniform. And she's always wearing the sunspots And I believe that's by Elena Nodel as well. She loves that. I've made her 3. Yes, I've made her 3 of them. She's always wearing the one that I made out of, it has silk content in it. I can't remember. I believe it was some sort of, it was silk. It was one of the bases with silk in it, and it was fingering weight. That's all I remember. But she's always wearing that one, and she loves it. So I figured I would make her a heavier weight one. And eventually I'm going to need to make her some more fingering weight yarn cardigans as well, because I feel like she's wearing that one so much that she really does like it. So this, I have no clue how long it took me to make. That sounds official and official podcasty, doesn't it? I'm trying to think here. When did I cast this on? A couple of weeks ago. Like I said, it's worsted, so once you get the body done, it's really, I don't even want to say that because the body's most of it, right? So you have these 2 lace panels on the front, and every row you've got just like this much lace on each side, and the rest is stockinette. So you have to kind of pay attention, but if you're like me, and I'll explain in a second, if you're like me, you can get away with watching TV or listening to an audiobook while you do it. So whenever I'm doing anything with lace, even if the lace is like 2 stitches repeated over and over again, I'm definitely using stitch markers because I have a tendency to get distracted with something's going on. I'm a mom. I have 2 kids, and they're constantly asking a question or just, life, right? So I will put stitch markers in at every lace repeat, no matter what. I've learned my lesson. Sometimes I will put stitch markers in where there's a specific step that I can't miss inside of a lace repeat. I'll just use different colors to differentiate what stitch markers I'm using. So with the Irish Gold that I made my mom, it was a cardigan, a fingering weight cardigan from Joji Locatelli. It had columns of lace, and I would put stitch markers, not so much for the repeats there. I would put them where you were meant to have your increases and decreases done, so that way the columns would line up. And that was very important to me, and it ended up working out very well. But before I realized I should do that, I ended up having to take out quite a bit of like that much of the sweater, but it's fingering weight. Okay, so I'm super excited about this. I'm so excited about this that like I said, I'm going to be casting on one of these for myself, like sometime today. And I have the perfect color. It's right here. This is Teal Feather by Malibrigo Rios. By Malibrigo, the base is Rios. So I'm super excited about that. I love this color. I love this color almost as much as I love this color. And the thing that I really like about the Thursday Special pattern is that the range of sizes is pretty good. So I can make my daughter one, and I can make myself one. And I'm always looking for patterns like that, not because I want to be matchy-matchy with my daughter. Obviously, she doesn't want to match with me. I'm her mom. or maybe she does. I haven't asked her lately. She's kind of very opinionated on clothes, so chances are she wouldn't want to match with me. But anyways, I'm always looking for patterns that I can reuse for myself and my daughter, and this one just happens to be a really good one. So I'm hopeful that that will go very well later today. I'm assuming that the Thursday special is going to start out the same way that it did for the smaller sizes, and that is you're going to cast on the back and work the short rows so you have the back piece, and then you'll pick up for the shoulders or on each side. And then once you work a small ribbed panel, you will start the lace and work the lace down. Now, for mine, I will more than likely work the sleeves first and then go back to the body, because my cardigans are a lot bigger than my daughter's, and I am not a fan of twisty, turny the cardigans trying to work the sleeves when the whole body is knit. So look forward to that, because I will definitely be doing that. Another thing that I think I've noticed on this cardigan is this line right here for picking up the sleeves. I'm not used to having that, and I would guess it's normal, but whenever I use, let me see if I can show it a little bit closer. Whenever I use like thinner weight yarn, it's not as noticeable. So I guess it's okay. I mean, the line to pick up is straight, so what else did I learn from this? Yes, so this is another thing. This band right here. This is so many stitches, an inch of stitches that are garter for the band, and you increase the band as it goes along so it gets a little bit thicker. But what I noticed is right here, this line, I need to look up on Google, YouTube, somewhere, how to deal with that last stitch in garter in such a way that it leaves a very pretty finish. And I have no clue how to do that yet. I know in stockinette you can just slip the first stitch, but I'm looking for a really, I'm looking for a nice finish, so that way, I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. I just think that it could look nicer. So I guess it's one of the things that you learn as you go. And right here, let me show this. There's this little, I'm tearing apart my knitting. I shouldn't be doing this, but yes, I am. So there's this little, where you picked up each shoulder, right in between, there's a little bit of extra like slack with one of the stitches, and it's been driving me nuts the entire time I've been working on it. So whenever I make mine, I'm going to have to pay specific attention to what I do there and make sure that that does not happen. But that is okay, because like I said, knitting is a learning process, and it's a lifelong learning process. So I still have a long way to go until I don't even want to say perfect a technique, more like I don't have to Google the answers to everything. Okay, so if you watched last week or the week before, I've been working on a scarf, which is kind of an abnormal thing for me, because this is probably my first scarf I've ever really done. Okay, so this is the Prismarine Scarf, and it looks so pretty, and I love the way that the colors are changing. Now, I've got just this tiny bit left from the first skein, and I haven't been working on this much this week because I've been trying to finish her cardigan, because I know that with her cardigan there's more of a time frame because she'll be out of school soon and it's getting warmer soon. How long is she going to want to wear a worsted weight cardigan? Which for her might be a while because she's always cold. She always tells me she's cold at school, so okay. Anyways, this is the Prismarine Scarf, and it is a very easy slip stitch pattern. So you basically start doing one black, and then you swap the colors and you do the other black with the opposite colors. And let me show my yarn really quick. So I have this coral, and then I have this much left of the first half of the skein, and that's it. I'm pretty sure I should be on the next skein whenever I sit down and actually work on this one. It's very fun to watch the colors change, and that's one of the things I really like about it. If you've ever done like any simple mosaic pattern, you can definitely handle this. Sorry about that. The camera died. I'm wondering how long this will take me to make, and I'm wondering how long this scarf is supposed to be, right? Because I am very short and I don't necessarily need a super long scarf. I'm also wondering if maybe my daughter would like it. I don't know though, because it has green in it. And she's more of a purple pink type of girl. But I really do like these colors. I love how bright they are. And I love how soft this scarf is. It is this yarn I've never used before. It's by Gusto Wool. And I was super happy to try it out. It's just been going though. Like I said, I haven't worked on it very much this week. Do you guys hear the birds? We have heard nothing but birds lately, especially in the last month. Like it seems like this spring, there's birds everywhere, and I have no clue what any of them are. So we have cardinals out there, and I see them like pretty much every day, and I know what their song sounds like, but there's this new one that I keep hearing, and I have no clue what type of bird it is. And I never thought that I would love birds so much, but like, it's so peaceful just sitting here and listening to them sing. Anyways, this is going to be a very long-term project, I believe, because what am I trying to say? This is fingering weight. So my order of operations here, I guess, is I'm keeping that scarf as fingering weight knitting to work on while I'm working on this and basically the Thursday special. Now, like I promised, there was one other thing that I cast on, and this is the emotional support chicken that it has basically been all over Instagram. Sorry, I don't mean to crinkle. In case you haven't noticed it, this is basically how it looks. The chicken that I picked was Dolly Parton, and this is what I have so far. And it's not much, so don't get too excited. This is the tail feathers. So you basically make 2 of these, and then you seam them together and pick up the body somehow. I haven't really looked ahead, which I know is like basic knitting 101, right? You should always read ahead in your pattern. This is the yarn that I'm using, and I have no clue what type of yarn it is. It just says wool on it, so I'm gonna go with that. Hang on, now I have to wrap it up. Do you hear that? So that's the yarn, and I really like it. It seems like it fades from like a blue to white, and that's pretty. So the second color that this kit came with is right here. And so that's what the chicken's gonna be sporting whenever it's done. I can't show it right. Now this kit is worsted weight yarn, so I don't expect it to take a very long time. And it says on the back that the finished size is 10 by 13 inches. So that's a pretty good size. I'm definitely not really used to making amigurumi or stuffies in general that size, so it will definitely be squishy. I haven't decided what exactly I'm going to stuff it with, because I do have some of the polyfill beads. Is that it? The beads that people stuff plushies with. But I also have stuffing, so it's just going to be one of those last minute decisions, and probably also with how loose, I don't want to say how loose the stitches are, but like, could any of those teeny tiny beads, could any of those teeny tiny beads get through there? Maybe. So I'll probably use the stuffing, but I guess we'll see. Like I said, it's not going to take very long. I'll have it done in the next couple of weeks. And that would be it. That would be all that I have for the knitting this week. I've been, like I said, concentrating on working through my daughter's cardigan, and I will put in some pictures while I'm talking about it, hopefully of her wearing it, so that way you guys can see how it looks on her. Oh my gosh, the little... Okay, ignore me looking out the window. A bird just landed, and it looks like the female cardinal, so sorry. Anyways, like I was saying earlier in the podcast, I definitely get distracted a lot. But that would be all that I have for the knitting this week. I don't have any crochet, and I don't think I'm going to have any crochet for a little bit. I have some mandala baby and mandala in general that I want to start working into blankets, because the blankets are going to be acrylic and I can donate those to anybody that needs a blanket, because they're, like I said, acrylic and they can be thrown in the washer and there's no special care there. So anyways, I hope that you guys are having a great week. This summer, is it the summer yet? It's not really the summer. This week we've had so many rainstorms. My daughter had to go in for a blood draw Oh, okay, sorry. Like I said, there's no more knitting left, so if you don't want to hear me babble about my life, thank you so much for stopping by. But I'll take like 5 minutes to talk about what happened this week. My daughter went for a blood draw, and that's a huge deal for a 9-year-old. But everything went fine there. But while they were gone, we got some pretty gross storms, and the power flickered, which isn't normally a big deal, but her doctor's appointment was like 40 minutes away. And on the way back, the what are they called? The street lights. Yes, that's oh my gosh. The traffic lights. Wow. Today is just going to be one of those days, right? So while they were gone, the traffic lights were out. And as they drove back, they had to basically treat every traffic light stop as a 4-way stop the whole way back. And it took quite a bit. But we haven't really done much this week. We are planning on going out and taking them out to the park later today. And my daughter's super excited about that. My son is kind of, you know how 13-year-olds are. For reading and watching, I have not watched pretty much anything except the Red Wings basically give up their chance to be in the playoffs, which was very sad, especially after scoring a goal like in the last couple of seconds on their last game. It was anyways, so I finished watching hockey for this season, and that was pretty much it. I have been concentrating pretty fully on my AWS certification, and I'm planning on taking the test sometime in the next week, 2 weeks. So fingers crossed for that. I have been listening to a couple of books. The books that I've been listening to lately are thrillers, which is weird for me because, well, maybe not. But it's definitely different from what I normally listen to. The one that I'm listening to now is called The Missing Wife. And the thing that jumped out at me when I started listening to this book is, wow, there are so many beautiful Irish names in this book. Because the book is taking place in Ireland. And the names are just gorgeous. And I've just been listening to it and thinking, wow, these names are so nice. But it's a good book. It's, like I said, it's an easy listening thriller. I also listened to another book whose name I cannot remember, but I'll put it down below. I think it's like, no, I can't remember. It's something about like you can't escape or he's always watching or something. It's about a lady who got into a relationship with a famous person who turned out to be a real jerk. And like a super jerk. And she ended up faking her own death to get away from him. And he found her. And anyways, that's pretty much the way that story goes. The books, the first book was okay, and the Irish book has turned out really good so far. That's pretty much it for reading and and watching. Like I said, I'm taking a bunch of practice tests for my AWS certification. So, and then whenever that one's done, I'm gonna try to get the next one in the associate level. So that's where my mind has been lately. Anyways, that's it from my end. I hope that you guys have had an amazing week and weekend. I thank you very much for stopping by. I really appreciate that you're here. And if you could, please give this video a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Until next time, thanks guys. Bye.